Hey, what's up, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So I'm sorry that I haven't uploaded. I've been really sick, and I still am really sick. So I'm also sorry for how I sound in this video. I'm gonna sound like I'm dying, and then I have a dick in my nose. So I apologize. But today's story time. I have a pretty funny one for you guys. Thought you would enjoy it. Leave a like if you do, and let's just jump right into this, okay? So this story time takes place when I was 16 years old, okay? And there's a little backstory to the story. So I was hanging out with my friends a lot at this time. A certain few friends that my mom didn't really like. She thought they were bad influences. And to be honest, she wasn't wrong at all. They definitely were not the best influences. But they were over one day at my house when my mom was at work. So it was me and my three friends, and we were hanging out in my backyard, and they were smoking a joint. Now, I wasn't smoking with them, but somehow, some way, my mom got out of work early this day, and she came home and caught us. And she was pissed. She sent them home. I told her that I wasn't smoking any of the weed, and that was the truth. And she believed me, but she was still pissed that I had my friends over, and they were smoking weed in her backyard. And she told me, she's like, "You want to act like a baby? I'm going to treat you like a baby. You can't be home alone from now on." And I just said, I was like, okay. Because in my head, I was thinking, like, yeah, she's definitely, like, not telling the truth. Like, she can't just stay home from work and watch me every day. Because she worked Monday through Friday, and she'd get home anywhere between, like, 6 and 9 p.m. So, like, I knew she couldn't just skip work. And my brothers, most of them didn't live with me anymore at the time. One did, but he worked a lot too. So I'm thinking to myself, like, yeah, nothing's going to happen. Like, she's going to keep working. I'm going to be able to keep staying home alone and enjoying life. Like, it's going to be fine. So the next day comes along. It was a Friday. I was stoked. I didn't really get in any trouble. Like, she didn't ground me or anything. All she did was tell me that I couldn't be home alone anymore. And I didn't really believe that. So anyway, I went to school. It was Friday. I got through the day. I got on my school bus. I went home. And as I got off the school bus, I realized there was a car in my driveway that I'd never seen before. And I was like, huh, that's strange. And I walk up to the front door, I open the front door, and I look to my right, and I see this random girl just sitting on my couch. And I think to myself, like, what the fuck, who is that? And she looked like the same age as me. And she looks over at me, and she's like, "Hey, are you Austin?" And I was like, "Yeah, who are you?" And she's like, "Hi," let's just call her Amy. She's like, "My name's Amy. This is going to sound a little bit strange, but I'm the babysitter. Your mom hired me." And I immediately say out loud, I'm like, "What the hell?" And she's like, "Yeah, I know, it's super strange. I almost didn't believe your mom on the phone when she told me, because you're definitely old enough to look after yourself. But I guess she just wants an extra person here to make sure, the house is all safe and good." And I was like, okay. And she looks super familiar. So I asked her, I'm like, "Do I know you from somewhere?" And she's like, "I don't know, we might have gone to the same school." And I was like, "Oh, what school do you go to?" And she tells me, and she literally went to the same school as me. She must have graduated early or something, or like transferred. But that's probably where I recognized her from. I probably saw her earlier that year or the year before or something. So I'm just thinking to myself, like, holy shit, I can't believe this is happening. So then I tell her, I'm like, "All right, so I'm guessing you're staying here till like 9 or something, because that's when my mom gets out of work." And she's like, "No, your mom actually told me that since she's hiring me, she has some more free time in the nights, so she's gonna go hang out with some friends tonight at a party." And I was like, "Wait, what? A party?" And she's like, "Yeah, well, since your mom has more free time this weekend because she hired me, she's gonna go to a friend's house after work and hang out with her and a few other friends, probably till like midnight or something. That's when I'm gonna be here till." And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell is happening? I have a babysitter. I'm 16 years old. My mom's going to parties. Like, what? Why is everything just flipping around on me right now? So I tell her, I'm like, "All right, well, I'm going to go in my room and play video games. I'll see you later." And she's like, "Okay, have fun." So I walk into my room. I turn my Xbox on. I get on MW2. I hop in an Xbox party with one of my friends, one of the same friends who was in my backyard smoking the joint that I got in trouble over in the first place. And I tell him, I'm like, "Dude, I just walked in my house, and a girl that went to our school is babysitting me now." And he's like, "No fucking way." I was like, "Dude, yeah, my mom hired her as a babysitter. And like, yeah, she's here till midnight." And he's like, "No way." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "What's her name?" And I tell him, and he's like, "Dude, I know her." And I was like, this is just ridiculous. So me and him play MW2 for like 2 hours. And I start getting really hungry. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Fuck avoiding the kitchen because the babysitter's right next to it. I'm just going to go in there and grab food. I'm starving. So I go out, go in the kitchen, and I notice there's like two pairs of feet on the couch, and I hear noises and like moaning and shit. And I look over, and luckily my couch is faced like away from me, like I can only see the back of it from the kitchen. So I didn't see them doing it, but they were doing it. They were on the couch. She had her boyfriend over. He must have snuck in while I was playing MW2, and they were having sex. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this is straight out of a fucking Netflix movie. Like, the babysitter has the boyfriend over. Like, this is ridiculous. And they notice me in the kitchen, and they immediately stop, and they both look over the couch and see me. And I was like, "Hey." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. This is my boyfriend." And I was just like, "Yeah, that was my first guess. I didn't think it was anybody else." And I was like, "Is it okay with my mom that you're having your boyfriend here?" And she's like, yeah, she's fine with it. And I was like, okay, whatever you say. I'm going to make my sandwich now. And I went back to making my sandwich. I finished making the sandwich. I look over at them again, and they're still staring at me with like this weird, like deer in the headlights look. And I just say, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go back in my room now. I don't want to sound like a jerk when I say this, but like my mom hired you to kind of just like hang out at the house and like watch TV and make sure I'm not doing anything bad. Can you please like not hook up with your boyfriend on my couch? Like I sit there, my family sits there, we watch TV there. Like just please don't do that. All right, have a good one. And I turn around and I walk down the hallway back to my room. And I go back into my room and I put my headset on and I'm like, dude, she had her boyfriend over and I just caught them fucking. And my friend's like, no way. And he starts laughing his ass off. And he's like, that's crazy, man. I'm like, dude, I gotta get out of here, like straight up. Like, can I come over? And he's like, yeah, for sure. I'm having people over tonight. Like, you should definitely come through. I was like, all right, bet. I'll see you in a little bit. So I turn off my Xbox. I grab my phone. I walk down the hallway, back into the kitchen. And I yell over to the living room. I'm like, hey, I'm going to go to my friend's house for a little bit. And Amy looks at me over the couch. And she's like, I don't think your mom would like that. Like, you should call her and get permission first. Make sure that you can go. And I was like, no, I'm just going to leave. But don't even worry. I'm going to come back before midnight, before my mom gets home. So it's going to be fine. And she's like, Austin, if you do that, I'm calling your mom and you're going to get in huge trouble. And I just look at her. And I was like, please don't talk to me like I'm 5. And she's like, well, I am the babysitter. Your mom hired me for you. And I was like, okay, cool. Pull your phone out. Call my mom. And she's like, okay. And she starts pulling her phone out. I go, I'll be sure to tell her about how you fucked your boyfriend on her couch. Do you do that with all your clients? And she was like, what? And then her boyfriend's like, hey, man, no, it's cool. You don't gotta say that. And I was like, oh, what? You talk now? Okay. And he just looks at me and he's like, yo, man, like, we didn't mean to come in here and disrespect your house. Like, we weren't trying to do that. And I was like, it's fine. Like, I'm not mad. I just really want to leave. And he looks over at her and he's like, maybe we should let him go. And I was like, wait, what is this, like a group babysitting effort now? Like, we're almost the same age. And then he looks at her again and he's like, yeah, he's right. We are almost the same age. Like, we should just let him go. And I was like, thank you. And she's like, fine, just please be back soon. I was like, don't worry, I will. So I walk out the front door. I walk to my friend's house. It took like 45 minutes to get there because he couldn't pick me up. And I get to his house and I walk in and I'm laughing my ass off, telling this whole story to all my friends. And they're all laughing at me, calling me the baby. They're like, oh, baby needs a babysitter. And like an hour after being at my friend's house, my mom calls me. And she's like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I'm at my friend's house. And she's like, wait, what? And I was like, I'm at my friend's. She's like, what about the babysitter? I'm like, look, she came over and invited her boyfriend, and I didn't want to hang out with them. And yeah, I'm at my friend's. Don't worry, you have my word. I'm not doing anything wrong. Trust me. And she's like, well, what was the point of me hiring a sitter? I was like, I don't know, Mom. I'm 16 years old. Why would you hire a babysitter in the first place? It's a waste of money. And she was like, I was trying to teach you a lesson. I was like, Mom, the only person that got taught a lesson was our fucking couch because she was on it with her boyfriend all day, probably doing stuff that I don't even want to think about. And she's like, God damn it. Well, I'm not going to hire her anymore then if you're just going to go fool around with your friends. I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong, Mom. You can trust me. You shouldn't hire a babysitter to begin with. I'm 16. I can look after the house myself. It's fine. And she's like, whatever. Have fun. Be home before midnight. I was like, okay. And I hang up. And I was so surprised she was being so chill about it. Because usually, in most situations, she would have been like, hell no, turn around, go back home, and be there with the babysitter. Like, do not sit at your friend's house all night. Like, you're punished. But she was surprisingly cool about it. Maybe she was just relieved that she was getting a night off to go hang out with her friends, and someone was looking after the house. So anyway, like an hour later, I called my mom back, and I was like, hey, can a couple of my friends come back to the house? And she's like, yeah, as long as the babysitter's there to make sure you guys aren't doing anything wrong. I was like, okay. So me and all my friends went back to my house with the babysitter and her boyfriend being there. And we actually all linked up and hung out that night and just kicked it with the babysitter and her boyfriend. They were actually pretty cool, I can't lie. Even though I was pissed off that they called me a baby and fucking threatened to call my mom like I was 10 years old and had sex on my couch that I loved, you know, in the end, no hard feelings because they ended up being pretty cool. And they were sorry about the couch thing. So, you know, whatever. I forgave them. It's not a big deal. We got a new couch soon anyway, so whatever. But yeah, that's the crazy story time of how I got a babysitter and how I caught her on my couch with her boyfriend doing it and then left. And somehow, some way, I didn't get grounded in the end. I thought I would, but I didn't. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this story time. Please leave a like on the video if you guys did enjoy the story time. I would really appreciate it. Leave your guys' stories in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace. I hate being sick so much. Fuck.
It's getting serious, make a bitch delirious. Bitches on my dick, cause a boy so mysterious. That's a mystery, thoughts making history. Wrist keeps spinning like a fucking rotisserie. Got my wrist whipping, looking like a chef. Oregano, in my right, 30 on my left. Pull up with the set, got the kitchen all wet. And the cream team coming for your neck.